Welcome to Arlington Public News. I'm Brenda Mahoney.
And I'm Paul Werlin. Thanks for joining us. In this edition of APN, flu season is here. We look into how Arlington is faring. Finalists for the principal's position at Ottoson Middle School meet the community.
And Senator Ed Markey joins local solar installers to raise the alarm. That and more up next. Stay with us. Special town meeting is just 2 weeks away, coming up on Monday, February 12th. There are 6 articles in the official warrant, but until last week, it was still unclear if Article 2 would be ready for consideration. After several delays, the Redevelopment Board voted unanimously to send the zoning bylaw recodification document to town meeting. The goal of the recodification is to streamline and clarify the lengthy zoning bylaws, not to change or create policy, according to town officials. Other articles that will be considered include a fiscal appropriation for the Hardy School renovation and expansion project, exemption of DPW and utility work from the residential construction bylaws passed at last spring's town meeting, and to ask town meeting for their endorsement of parking benefits of the Parking Benefits District expenditures. Special town meeting begins at 8 o'clock on Monday, February 12th in the Town Hall Auditorium. You can watch it live on your local ACMi channel or stream it at acmi.tv.
John Ellis of the Arlington Tree Committee presented data from a year-long mapping project to the Board of Selectmen recently. The results of the project, funded by the Department of Conservation and Recreation, show that Arlington's tree canopy needs help. Diversification may be the most effective way to protect the tree canopy moving forward. According to the numbers, 42% of trees in Arlington are Norway maples.
And it's a risk factor because should there become a pest that only attacks Norway maples or only attacks maples, you can lose a tremendous amount of your canopy very quickly. This is not a hypothetical situation. The city of Worcester had a huge population of ash trees. There is a pest called emerald ash borer. It hit the city of Worcester very hard. There were people in Worcester who lived on tree-lined streets when they went to work in the morning, and when they came home, there were no trees on their street because the city had to remove them all because of emerald ash borer.
An aging tree population also puts the canopy at risk.
And you notice the red line is the ideal distribution of trees. That's ideal because you always want to have more smaller, younger trees because there's mortality as the trees age. And what this implication is here, first of all, we have about half as many young trees as we need. The second implication is that as these trees age, the tree size of the total tree canopy in Arlington is likely to be heading down.
Currently, the town is planting 200 trees each year. According to Ellis, that number would have to increase dramatically in order to create an optimal canopy. At the cost of $500 to $1,000 per tree, a balance has to be found. Arlington's commitment to that balance is reflected in the latest budget numbers. According to Town Manager Adam Chapdelaine, the current $40,000 tree planting allocation is budgeted to increase by $25,000.
The flu is widespread across the nation, with cases quickly rising here in Massachusetts. And public health officials say Arlington is not immune. The town's public health director tells Arlington Public News there are 37 confirmed cases of the flu in the town, with actual instances suspected to be even higher. Arlington Public Schools are also reporting an increase in students with flu symptoms. Nurse Director Susan Franke telling APN she's urging parents to keep their children home, even if they have just a slight temperature, anything at 99.5 degrees or above. The schools and town are working together to keep close tabs on the numbers and are asking the public to keep close tabs on symptoms, that this is a hard-hitting flu that can quickly progress.
When you have a sudden onset of symptoms that come on pretty rapidly and they're severe, not being able to hold down fluids, having a really high temperature, feeling achy all over, and it's not steadily over a few days, it's really sort of onset. That's really, I think, the key and the important piece there, checking in with the doctor's office and letting them know how you're feeling and what their thoughts are. So what we're getting here in the office are confirmed cases. However, we know that there's more flu-like illness out there that may just be not diagnosed, and that's why it's even more important just to make sure that you're washing hands and taking good care of yourself. I think the flu that they're seeing this year is just so not typical of other seasons, and so that's why it's important to really be monitoring what's going on with you and your body, and having those conversations with your doctors, just to make sure that you're on top of those things and getting the best advice that you can.
The state's Department of Public Health reports twice as many cases of confirmed flu this time of year compared to last year. If you haven't gotten a flu shot yet, Arlington health officials urge you to get one now, saying they have a good supply left over from flu shot clinics held in the fall. Contact public health nurse Jessica Kerr at 781-316-3140 to make an appointment. Well, I don't know about you, Paul, but even just in the last couple of weeks, my doctor's office had an automated phone call saying, get your flu shot. So there really is a big push saying that it's not too late. The flu season has not peaked here yet in Massachusetts, according to State Department of Public Health officials, and also, of course, to use flu prevention tips. Hand washing, a lot of that.
Absolutely. Good words of advice. So if you haven't gotten your flu shot yet, it's not too late. Please go ahead and do that.
Well, up next, meet the woman behind the pink hats that became the symbol of a movement.
And Senator Markey visits Arlington to stand up for the solar revolution. That and more when we come back.
Hello, my name is Kylie Sullivan, and I'm a health compliance officer with the Arlington Board of Health. At the Board of Health, we interpret and enforce state, federal, and local regulations pertaining to health, specifically regarding food establishments, housing issues, and nuisance complaints such as pests, odors, and noises. For more information, please visit the town website, or you can give us a call at 781-316-3170.
Senator Ed Markey and an Arlington solar company are blasting new tariffs on solar panels. The U.S. Senator joined workers from Sunbug Solar in Arlington, as well as industry and labor leaders late last week to oppose a new 30% tax on solar panels and cells coming into this country. An even higher tariff was proposed by the International Trade Commission, with President Donald Trump ultimately approving a 30% import tax. Those opposed say any domestic solar manufacturing that could be spurred by the tariff would not be enough to offset the supply chain and therefore financially hurt installers like Sunbug and their customers.
There are only 2,000 people right now in the whole country who manufacture solar panels. So we here in Massachusetts could lose 1,000 to 2,000 jobs in installation. So there would have to be a tenfold increase in manufacturing, and that just is not going to happen.
The tariffs that President Trump has imposed might provide modest relief to a small handful of solar panel manufacturers in this country. But those tariffs will deliver a serious blow to the thousands of installers like Sunbug, who are hard at work trying to build their solar businesses and spread clean, renewable solar energy throughout the United States.
These jobs will directly negatively impact the members that I represent on a day-to-day basis, trying to earn a living. Despite these challenges, the electrical construction industry and Local 103 will continue to innovate and provide solutions to power America's energy and power needs. Make no mistake, this is a big gift to oil and coal. That's what it is.
The number one thing that we are going to do as Democrats is to fight to keep the solar tax breaks on the books.
Sunbug Solar says they do not anticipate needing to lay off any of their 80 workers, but say sales of solar will slow down as they pass on costs to customers later this year. According to Green Tech Media, a market researcher for Next Generation Electricity, the new tariffs will curb solar installations by about 11% nationwide.
Ottoson Middle School has been led by interim principal Eileen Woods for the past 2 years. The search for a permanent leader has come down to 3 finalists. Parents and interested community members were invited to meet the candidates and ask questions. Each candidate had a half hour to introduce themselves and field questions. Here is an introduction to each of the candidates and the questions that were on parents' minds.
I love middle school. I loved Ottoson. It pained me to leave Arlington. But I'm so glad that I did, in a way, because it made it so that I could see something else and really learn more from another district. So Heather Galante taught at the high school at Arlington High. She followed me to Chelmsford, not followed me, we ended up in Chelmsford coincidentally 1 year after, and we spent a little bit of time saying, oh, in Arlington they do it this way. but I really learned sort of the way they do it in Chelmsford and other districts, working with lots of different people. I think that sort of broadened my horizons, maybe a better educator, and really sort of ready 9 years later after being an assistant principal to be a principal.
What's your vision for the school?
My vision I think my starting vision for the school is I'd like to hear sort of what everybody's vision is. I mean, it's going to go through a huge change, right? The sixth graders are going to leave, and it's going to be just the 7-8. I remember what it was like when it was a 7-8, and I remember being here and how happy a school it was, and it was such a community. Everybody worked together. There was a ton of interdisciplinary work. That's what I'd like to see. And I'd like to really just make sure the transition is very smooth for the sixth graders coming in from the Gibbs when they come, or obviously in this fall will be from all of the elementary schools, but then in the future from the Gibbs when they've had their 1 year there. And then they're feeling ready after 2 years here to go on to Arlington High School or wherever they happen to go. In doing that, I want to hear, you all and the teachers and the administration, everybody have been working for years on sort of what to do with the Ottoson and how to reconfigure the grades. So I'd want to hear from all different groups and all different parties involved sort of your vision for the school so that we can all work together to sort of move together as a collective vision.
I'm getting ready for the next challenge. And so this year I decided about kind of what I wanted to do. It might be because I'm turning 50 that I'm having all these kind of reflective moments. But I said, I'd like to become a building leader. I would like to hopefully put into practice some of the things that I've learned. And I decided what are communities that I would feel at home. And Arlington was on that short list. And I know right now the demographics are changing and there's a lot more people in the school. So it seems like it would be an exciting place to work at and hopefully, have some change. And when I walked around the building, so I had an all-day walk around the building, it felt like it fit. And so as I walked around and saw teachers doing creative units and having kids grouped well and saw the kids, it just seemed like a fit. And so that's what brings me here tonight. Yes?
Arlington as a district has committed itself to personalized learning.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering your thoughts about personalized learning, how you would try to bring that more into the school here.
I think one of the things we're trying to do at Dover-Sherburne is talking about differentiating the instructions. So finding out where kids are and meeting them where they are. So it's talking about learning styles, it's talking about project-based learning, it's talking about meeting the students where they are and hopefully giving them an experience in which they can excel. And I think the biggest issue at middle school is sometimes teachers feel like if they are having different standards for different kids, it's not fair. And I actually think you have to give students what they need. And so if a student needs, for example, more hands-on, that's something you should be able to provide.
I think the important things to know about me is that I've been a middle school educator or an educator, secondary educator. This is my 25th year, and I'm proud of that. I was never one to intend to go into education. I'm definitely a firm believer of where the path is going to take me is where I'm going to go. When I was at UMass Amherst, I studied sociology and criminology with an intent to go to law school. And I was a psychology minor and ended up in Amherst in some elementary classrooms. And that's the route I took. Ended up doing my student teaching in Brookline and then ended up working in a mental health facility for 2 years. Probably the best thing I ever did in my career was probably being a mental health worker because it's informed everything that I've done till now. There was nothing that in any of the jobs I've been in that can't contribute to what I do today with middle schoolers.
So there's a comparison of where Arlington has grown and where we're going. And while the MCAS are something to certainly look at, there's the balance in their mental state. And with your background in that, do you have a philosophy?
I think it would have to go back to, very simply stated, looking at the whole child. Making sure that, like, while we're bringing up these rigorous academics and we have these high expectations and students internalize those, we've even found that having the balance of being able to be a 7th or 8th grader and still, you know, have a full, not just the content areas, but accessing the arts, the music, the drama, and watching those students go through that and just be able to be a 7th grader and try something different that they might not have tried before. I mean, those students here who asked for coding is the #1 enrichment elective at my school.
You can watch the full event at acmi.tv or check the ACMi schedule for times. All the candidates have spent a day at the Addison, and now Arlington school officials will make visits to the finalist schools. Superintendent Bodie is planning to have a decision by mid-February.
It was just over a year ago that a sea of pink flooded the streets from Boston to Los Angeles. The pink hat became a symbol of the quest for women's rights and much more. It began as a knitting project between two friends and quickly grew into a worldwide movement.
With the help of social media, people across the nation joined the movement called the Pussy Hat Project, in which individuals and local communities across the nation would knit hats with pink yarn and create arts and crafts projects as symbols of support specifically for women's rights. However, the project's impact elevated as these pussy hats became a symbol for human rights and equality for all. Volunteers and participants posted videos online and shared the project's Facebook page. The Pussy Hat Project's impact was so far-reaching that it even led to national shortages of pink yarn. Last Wednesday, the Arlington Center of the Arts welcomed the co-creator and co-founder of the Pussy Hat Project, Jana Swyman, for a Q&A style sit-down. Born in Newton, Mass., this event was an opportunity for Jana to come back to her hometown area to meet with residents of Arlington and other local communities who've taken personal inspiration from the movement to create change within their own communities.
And I really wanted to make a project where anyone, no matter who they were, could get involved. And so we teamed up with our knitting instructor, Kat Coyle, who owns the Little Knittery, and she created the incredible diagram of the hat, and the illustrator Aurora Lady, and launched it within 6 days. So it was very, very fast.
As quickly as the project came together, its national impact was much more than expected from Swyman and company.
The sort of love and sort of care that people were giving, sort of all those little bits, like just kind of kept growing and growing and growing. And then you got to see it that morning, and that was just bananas. It was fantastic.
Swyman emphasized the impact of the project in building community and promoting inclusiveness. She also shared the project's impact on her own life.
There were so many people who helped and took charge and just went with it that, like, that's the part that's amazing. It's just sort of like the community took it on. So in that way, it was manageable. And the more press that we got, the more we could share this idea of inclusion, of women's rights, how this was pro-women, how important this was. So it was much more of like an honor than like a, oh dear. And I think that that's like so much the power of this project. It's not the stuff of like, oh, the sea of pink hats is just phenomenal, but sort of all these personal connections that people are making is just so incredibly moving, which, you know, I get a little taste here and there of what's happening, but like those to me are just what really get me.
Swyman is looking forward to seeing the expansion of this project beyond just one march.
I think I feel much more of a need to be politically active. And sort of the approach of Pussy Hat is very much about giving the opportunity for people to express themselves. So sort of figuring out how these notes like work together and sort of how people can work together. And I think that those are more like long range things. And I think just sort of like with the Women's March, it wasn't designed to be anti an administration per se. It was very much about being pro-women. And I think I just always keep coming back to like, what are the big issues?
Jana's vision is to create more access and informational platforms surrounding the Pussy Hat Project as well as human rights. This vision includes starting an organization that provides grants and scholarships for students who create project-based ideas that inspire social change. For Arlington Public News, I'm Sebastian Gonzalez Johnson.
Jana and company are currently developing the Welcome Blanket project in response to the Trump administration's proposal for increased border restrictions. Over 2,000 miles of yarns will be used to create welcome blankets for refugees and immigrants arriving in the U.S. Well, it's pretty interesting, really, to see how just a conversation between two friends can develop into this national movement.
Yeah, you know, I was in New York a couple of weekends ago during the Women's March, and it's wonderful to see that the tradition is continuing. I mean, it was a big march last year, and it's still going on, so that's great to see.
I saw them in town being worn by some people this past week. Well, the Ponders winter sports teams continue to rack up W's.
And what are you doing on Sunday, February 4th? We asked our neighbors. That and more when we come back.
If you live in one of the 22 communities that appear on your screen now, you likely belong to the Mystic River watershed. This vital resource is a natural living system that we all share. Since 1972, the Mystic River Watershed Association has successfully fought to protect and restore this treasure. Now I'm asking you to join that effort. Please go to mysticriver.org to become a member and to find out how you can help today.
The Ponders basketball and hockey teams continue to post wins this season, and longtime Arlington Catholic football coach Sergey Clivio is leaving the field, but not the school. Our Studio B sports team has this update on Ponder Sports.
I'm Rachel Chewinski, and welcome to another sports update. I'm here outside of Arlington Catholic as football head coach Serge Clivio has officially announced his retirement from the AC Cougars. Coach Clivio had been with the Cougars for 29 years and helped bring in 7 Catholic Central League championships, as well as 2 Super Bowl wins in 1993 and in 2008. ACMi was lucky to sit down with Coach Clivio before his final game against longtime town rival Arlington High.
The most rewarding part of coaching always is just working with young men and seeing them respond and seeing them do well. The most rewarding thing this year was after a year last year where we struggled and didn't have any victories, to see them get their first win this year and the joy that they experienced and getting that first win and experiencing it. That was a great experience for all of us.
Taking a look at our boys and girls on the ice rink, the boys took multiple wins against Belmont and Wakefield Memorial, as well as a dominating 10-1 win against Wilmington.
Trying to get a shot off, but there's a goal. They've scored. The Ponders have scored here.
Unfortunately, the boys weren't able to secure a win against Burlington, but we'll see how they do against Reading on Saturday, February 3rd, and Marshfield on Sunday, February 4th. The girls on the rink weren't able to secure a win against Belmont, but took in multiple wins against Wakefield and Wilmington.
Arlington threatening. Here's O'Brien. Look, she's got the head up. The beautiful pass. Oh, my goodness, nearly. She is a nice player. Another assist for O'Brien, and she is the Gretzky tonight as she's feeding her teammates. The goal, I think, was scored by Holly Russell, but O'Brien put it right on her stick.
Be sure to catch their next game against Reading on Saturday, February 3rd. Moving over to the basketball court, the boys have had some close games, but have managed to secure wins over most of our neighbor towns, currently holding a 12-2 record. They'll be playing at home against Reading on Friday, February 2nd, and will be on the road to play a game against Woburn on February 6th. The girls unfortunately took a couple of losses against Belmont and Wakefield, but turned things around to take the win against Wilmington, Methuen, and Burlington. They'll play an away game against Reading on Friday, February 2nd, and will be back home to take on Woburn on February 6th. That's all we have for you on this week's Sports Update. From Arlington Community Media, I'm Rachel Chewinski. See you next time.
Well, Paul, it certainly is a busy weekend coming up. There are some activities that you might want to check out other than just the Patriots. Members of the Arlington School Committee will be at Cafe Nero on Saturday morning, February 3rd from 11 a.m. to noon. Stop by, grab a cup of coffee, and share your thoughts and questions in a relaxed atmosphere.
And if you want to head outside on a winter morning, join the Friends of the Mystic River and the Menominee Bird Club on Saturday, February 3rd from 10 to 11:30 for their annual winter bird outing along the Mystic Lakes and the upper Mystic River. This is your chance to spot the raptors like bald eagles, merlin, Cooper's hawk and red-tailed hawk, and waterfowl, including common and hooded mergansers and red-bellied woodpeckers, who are frequent visitors to the Mystic in winter. Meet at the Medford Boat Club parking lot in Medford, right off the Mystic Valley Parkway. Bring binoculars and a birding field guide, and remember to dress for the weather. For more information, visit FOMR.org.
And a bit later, you can put on your favorite blue jeans and head to Town Hall for the Arlington Center for the Arts Blue Jean Ball on Saturday night, February 3rd. You can enjoy live blues and bluegrass music, upcycled denim art fashion, a barbecue, and a rocking silent auction. Emmy Award-winning arts and entertainment reporter Joyce Gilhaywick will deliver the keynote address. All proceeds benefit Arlington Center for the Arts. You can visit ACAarts.org for more information and to purchase tickets.
Author and historian Richard Duffy kicks off the Winter Wednesday series at the Historical Society on February 7th at 10 a.m. Enjoy a touch of nostalgia as Duffy shares images and stories of penny postcards from Arlington and the postcard craze of the early 20th century. This series continues throughout February. Lectures are held at the Historical Society building at 7 Jason Street. For more information and a complete schedule, visit arlingtonhistorical.org.
You know, it's curious. There's nothing going on in the community calendar for the 4th. What could be going on that day?
Sunday?
Yeah.
I wonder what's going on. Well, we wondered that too. So we sent 2 of our interns, Hannah Schuster and Sebastian Gonzalez Johnson, to find out.
So a big Super Bowl party at my nephew's house. That's what we did 2 years ago when they won, and we're going to repeat it. Last year I was with my son in Florida, but this year that won't happen. But we're going to have a good time.
We were going to go to a friend's house because she has parties and stuff. And just watch the game, and that's really it.
No, I'm going to be up in New Hampshire with some guitar-playing friends. I'm more of a hockey fan than I am a football fan. We'll probably be eating well.
Probably poorly planned, but we're flying back from Florida that day, so we'll probably just be recovering from the trip.
Well, it was nerve-wracking to have them come back last game, and the Super Bowl 28-3 was nerve-wracking, but it proves that they can come back from anything. I don't doubt them at all anymore.
Tom Brady win that game again, and we call it a day. But if I lose, it'll be a horrible Monday.
I've been a season ticket holder for like 25 years. I've been to 3 Super Bowls personally with my son.
Because I'm from Indiana, I'm really impartial when it comes to the Patriots versus Philadelphia, but I'm just hoping for a good, close game.
And they are a tremendous team. We'll never see the likes of this team ever again. Dynasty.
Opinion on Tom Brady? Well, he's a great player. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I've never been a huge fan of the Belichick, Brady, but yeah, no, they're definitely he's definitely a good player.
Did you see that he had another finger surgically implanted, so he'll have a place to put his next ring? It's true. That's why they was all bandaged up and having troubles.
Oh, so exciting. Looking forward to that game on Sunday. Super Bowl, Patriots again.
You bet.
Well, thanks for joining us. You can check out our latest segments and newscasts on the web at acmi.tv/news. And don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @Arlington Public.
If you'd like to be a part of Arlington Public News and ACMi, email us at news@acmi.tv or stop by the studio here at 85 Park Avenue. I'm Paul Werlin.
And I'm Brenda Mahoney. Go Pats.
Go Pats. Thanks for joining us.